YouTube, man, what the hell going on, my WWE fans? What the hell going on? Today we're gonna react to 30 under 30. So I guess we're just gonna react to people under 30. Wrestling with Andy. Shout out to Wrestling with Andy for the video. Big WWE fan. I remember people used to tell me, you don't like no WWE fan. You like it. You like you do other stuff. Like what the fuck I do? Like just because I look like this, no, I can't watch fucking wrestling. What type of shit are we on right now, people? What type of shit are we on? Wrestling for nerds. Shut up. I'm a nerd. The fuck? The fuck? Anyway, let's hop on to the video and see this 30 for 30. It's weird seeing real people like with long hair and shit. That shit is
The
weird.
industry has always been young, up-and-coming stars.
That boy Joe.
But
Okay,
who are the
Joe.
biggest prospects in the world
How old is
today?
Braun Breaker?
Well, join us as we take a deep dive into the top 30 wrestlers under the age of 30. And where better to start than with arguably the best of them all, Rhea. And well, join us as we take a deep dive into the top 30 wrestlers under the Join us as we take a deep dive into the top 30 wrestlers under the age of 30. And where better to start than with arguably the best of them all, Rhea Ripley. How can we start
shit.
anywhere else, really? After all, at just 27 years old, Rhea has already proven herself to be probably the biggest star in all of
She
women's
27?
wrestling, arguably even bigger than Becky Lynch at this point.
She
And
is
given the trajectory
at this
she's
point.
currently on, it seems like it can only really go up from here. Does this mean further world titles and WrestleMania
Mommy's
main events
always
are in
on
her future?
top.
More than likely. Hell, by the time she's done, we expect her to be a Hall of Famer and perhaps even holder of a men's title too. As with Chyna doing it before by winning the Intercontinental title, we can certainly see Ripley following on in her footsteps.
Didn't have somebody has a woman ever held a world heavyweight champion? One of them champions? I'm quite sure it has been one. Gotta be one. Do I see Rhea Ripley winning? I feel like she could, but how would they work that though? How would they work that? Like, maybe what about a tag team champion, a title or something? Would that matter? I feel like that'll be better. So,
But what of her on-screen lover?
has a
Surely
man and
he
a woman
deserves
won a
his own
tag team
spot in
title?
this video too. Well, that's why he's our next subject. That's right, it's time to talk about Dominic Mysterio.
Love Dominic.
Seriously, who could have foreseen the rise of Dom Dom in this way? Hell, only a few years ago he was something of a punchline, with it looking like he was going to be the next version of David Flair. Somewhere along the way, the former NXT North American champion
When he turned
figured out his
heel?
character, and when he did, he became one of the hottest acts in WWE almost overnight. And given he's only 26, it's scary to think about how much further he could go too as the year progresses. Will he and his mommy end up ruling the company?
You
as
know
its
what I
next
love
pop-
about Dominic Mysterio? Dominic Mysterio, normally, Latinos and they be like high flyers or, well, no, Andrade, he not really. But normally, they be like high flyers and they do all this extra shit that people can't do. They normally do stuff like that, which I love. But him, he'll technical, like a little technical. You know what I'm saying? The one thing I think I said I do not like about him is I seen videos of him doing the 619 like he's scared to hit the ropes. I don't like that shit whatsoever, but I'm quite sure he's gonna get better at it. He might have another finisher. You know what I'm saying? So that's about it. Other than that, I love his work ethic. I love the work ethic.
or couple before the decade is out? Anything's possible, and that applies to his title aspirations too.
Yep.
Because it really feels like it's only a matter of time now until Dirty Dom wins some main roster gold. Of course, he'll have plenty of challengers who also want the gold once he decides to go for this.
I don't think he
and one of
he
them
probably
will no
ready
doubt
yet.
be our next subject, Carmelo Hayes. Now, if we're picking one male talent in current day NXT who's going straight to the top, then that person might very well be Carmelo Hayes, or possibly a former friend of his we'll get to in a moment.
Yeah.
Either way, he's a shoo-in for stardom as, at just 29 years old, he's already proven he can go to an incredibly high level, something which his resume of bangers on NXT has shown. And with him currently being involved in the best ongoing story on 2.0, he's now shown he can handle the entertainment side of sports entertainment too, meaning there's no reason he shouldn't be on the main roster soon, absolutely killing it. Seriously, can you imagine Hayes versus Seth Rollins? Or
That'd be
Hayes versus
crazy.
AJ Styles
That'd
in the
be
near
crazy.
future? That said, his former friend we alluded to a moment ago will probably still be chasing after him even after he joins Raw or SmackDown. And that's the person we want to look at next as it happens. Who are we talking about here? Why,
Who
Trick
that
Williams,
Trick?
of course.
Whoop
Yes,
that
over the
Trick.
last few months particularly, Trick Williams has really broken out of the pack on NXT and shown that when push comes to shove, it might be him and not his now former partner who's the real future ace of WWE. After all, who else out there today has so quickly gone from being a nobody to the kind of guy who can get main roster audiences chanting his name during his first cameo
With the
SmackDown appearance?
J's.
And with it looking increasingly likely that he's going to be NXT World Champion before long, that'll be yet another feather in his cap. A cap which is going to start getting very heavy at a certain point, as we don't see him stopping out.
I don't watch NXT, so I mean I know who they are, but I just don't watch NXT. I probably watch it here and there, you know what I'm saying? Just checking in over there, but other than that, I really don't watch it. If you watch NXT, let me know. Should I check it out? Should I not check it out? Sometime I do. So, I mean, it look Shawn Michaels doing his thing over there. Of course, on Twitter, all I see is I mean, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Adding to it anytime
I need
soon.
Shawn Michaels
No,
bookmark
by the time
history.
the decade is over, we expect big things from the 29-year-old, but then we also expect big things from another of his 2.0 alumni,
Braun Breaker?
and that's Braun Breaker.
He's
That's right.
26.
As the son of Rick Steiner, Braun Breaker pretty much has it all in that he's a perfect mixture of both Steiner brothers, and he's certainly used these genetic advantages to help
100%.
him go
He like
far
goddamn
already,
Liver
as
King.
in a relatively short space of time, he's already become a two-time NXT World
Shit.
Champion and one-time NXT Tag Team Champion. And with him only having just signed with SmackDown at the tender age of 26,
Yep.
we're now about to see what he can do on the main roster with more established talent.
Yep.
Will he rise to the moment?
I always
Well,
say, I
that's
said he look like
Hell.
goddamn somebody, and he Scott's the I see he look like some goddamn body. His spears are great. Hopefully he can protect his neck or whatever, but his spears are top tier. Top tier. As long as he protect himself, they're top tier. And he can
Even
wrestle.
if he's
So
on a different show to him currently, we still wouldn't be surprised to see Braun be the man who ultimately dethrones the mighty Gunther as Intercontinental Champion.
won't happen.
Of course, while he's doing that, the other secondary main roster belt may still be in possession of our next subject.
Don't say Logan
current
Paul.
United States Champion Logan Paul.
Hey,
Yes,
I
he
didn't
might be
like Logan Paul coming in because I was like, man, I want to see for real a wrestling fan. He's just talking because I'm finna watch his ass. And of course, I like watching his interviews. I love listening to his interviews when he interview wrestling and shit. So, but Logan Paul had outdone himself. Logan Paul has outdone his goddamn self. So, hey, you got my respect. So,
one of the
And
most
he's
natural
full-time
deals in
now.
business today. But love him or hate him, there's no denying that over the course of just 7 singles matches, the 28-year-old social media star has proven himself to be something of a prodigy in the ring.
yeah.
Hell, if he's willing to commit for the long haul, we honestly wouldn't be surprised if he went all the way to the top at some point. And yes, we mean the WWE title.
I ain't
Will
going
he
that
really
far.
Get there before our next subject? Well, that remains to be seen because this next subject is none other than
Austin Theory.
That's right. At just 26, Austin Theory has already achieved a lot in his career. Hell,
I didn't know- I didn't know he was goddamn
They've not only had 2 runs with the
26.
United States title, but that they've also scored a pinfall win over John Cena at
I'm
WrestleMania.
telling you.
The only question left then is, can he get to that next step? WWE.
Look, make him a fucking baby face. I promise you. They want him to be like John Cena so much. Make him a baby face. Make him a baby face, kind of heel. Just a little bit. Make him a baby face. Because this heel shit he doing, I don't like. He can keep the music. Yeah, he can change it. But make him a baby face. That'd be
He
great.
seemed convinced he can make it to. That remains to be seen, but even if he never becomes a world champion, he's still going to play a big role in WWE going forward, and this alone earns him a spot on today's video. Yes, at very least, we expect Austin Theory to be a staple of either Raw or SmackDown for some time to come, right alongside our next subject,
Tiffany Stratton.
Stratton. Of course, Stratton's time on the main roster has only just begun, though, because as of the time of this video's recording, she's recently signed a contract to feature exclusively on SmackDown. But that doesn't mean we haven't already seen plenty of what she can do down on NXT, as it was there she had an absolutely breakout performance against Becky Lynch.
Mm-hmm.
And if this is any sign of where her future is going, it's going to be very exciting to watch, as in one night, she proved beyond a shadow of a doubt she could hang with the big stars, despite still only being 24 herself. Sure, it helps that she's got a great Paris Hilton-esque character.
These
but
motherfuckers
never let
look
that obscure
older than
fact
what
that
they
she's also
is.
a very good wrestler. That said, she's not the only good wrestler who's come out of the NXT system.
But she
as of
look
late,
good though. They
as
look
their
good.
division is
Everybody look
doing
good.
great
I'm
right
just
now.
saying.
And of the women who are killing it the most, perhaps
Like, she
none
don't
are
look
doing it more
22.
than Roxanne Perez. That's right. If we're placing our bets for one woman on the developmental brand today who's going to dominate the main roster in the future, then it would be the former Roxy. Why is that? Well, because at just 22 years old,
Hey, she
she's
younger.
already a complete package. Hell, over the last few years alone, she's become a world champion in both Ring of Honor and NXT. And even when she's not been holding the gold, she's been having some great bouts against the likes of
Maybe I
Blair
need to check out
Davenport
NXT.
and a certain current champion we'll be getting to soon enough.
I need to check it out.
Really, the sky's the limit.
See what
for
the
her
hell
in terms
going
of Where
on.
the future lies, as with a
the
character
hell
that's like
going
a
on.
modern-day version of AJ Lee and in-ring skills which could rival some of the Four Horsewomen. There's no reason Roxanne shouldn't be a very big star as time goes on.
Maybe I
But
need
will
to
she
check
want
it
to
out.
share the spotlight with her real-life friend and kayfabe enemy? Well, she might not have a choice in the matter.
Okay, she looked
because
22
nipping
there.
right at her heels the whole time she's rising up the card is going to be our next subject, Cora Jade. Hell, when all is said and done, there's a chance Cora Jade will actually end up being a bigger star than Perez, as everything the Texas native has, she has too. And with her only being 23 herself, she has all the time in the world with which to establish her character to a main roster audience. Will this see her holding gold above her head before the decade is out? Almost certainly. And it'll almost certainly see her have some very high-profile matches against the likes of Rhea Ripley, Becky Lynch, and Bianca Belair. Really, we can't wait to
EST.
see what she can do on either the red brand or the blue brand. But that doesn't mean...
Hey, have y'all been checking out her and her husband's show? Have y'all been checking it out? I need to check it out. Maybe I need to check it out because I love both of them. I love Montez Ford and Bianca Belair. So, you know, hey, them are two people I would love to meet. You know what I'm saying? Hang out with. They look fun. They look fun to hang out with. I would love to hang out with them.
we want to see her leave NXT quite yet either. No, the fact remains that Cora still has plenty to do there before her time is over, so we hope she heals up from a recent injury quickly and is able to get back in the ring before the year is out, as there's no time to waste. After all, she's still yet to win the world title there, and who knows, when she comes back to
You
inevitably
clip your
challenge
nails.
for it, it may still be in the possession of our next subject today, Lyra Valkyria. Now, Lyra had a different path from most of the people that we're going to discuss today when it came to reaching the point she's at now. As being Irish, she had to first come up through the UK indie scene. But so good was she there, it wouldn't take too long for WWE to notice her and sign her up to a developmental contract. And since doing so, she's absolutely killed it, with her even being the one to beat Becky Lynch for the NXT Women's title at October 24th, 2023's Halloween Havoc show. Of course, Lyra
Becky Lynch,
Valkyria's
I
placement
did.
in
Now I
today's
did
video
watch
was about
that.
more
I did watch that when Becky Lynch came back. I did watch that. Can't remember it, but I did watch it.
than just one match, though, as
Yeah, watch.
despite still only being 27, she's built up quite a resume for herself. A resume which makes it seem certain that once she does finally join the main roster in the not-too-distant future, she's going to be just fine swimming with the big sharks like Charlotte Flair or Bayley. In fact, we'd go as far as to say she...
Hey, why
might
they
even
ain't put
end up
Bayley on no
taking a
posters?
bite out of those
What the
performers
fuck?
herself and end up as the real top star of the division.
They
for
doing
a
that shit
while
on
at least.
purpose?
But let's move away from WWE for a moment and instead head over to AEW, where a whole host of young talents are also rising fast, and none of these are rising faster than MJF. Yes, as it stands today, it seems like a no-brainer that for the rest of the decade and possibly into the next, Maxwell Jacob Friedman is going to be pushed as the face of All Elite Wrestling. But then why wouldn't he? Because you could argue, of all the people we're going to be looking at today, he's the best of the bunch. That's right. Well, we all know how great of a promo he is, someone who can rival his idols Roddy Piper and CM Punk on the mic. Let's not forget he's also a very good in-ring performer.
He is a great in-ring
And if you need
performer.
any evidence of that, you only have to look at the kind of bouts he's had against the likes of Bryan Danielson, Samoa Joe, and Ricky Starks, just to name a few. Of course, when you consider he's still only 27 then, it's crazy to think about how good he'll be once he reaches his prime.
I'm telling you.
Honestly, in years to come, we could be talking about him as one of the very best of his time. But MJF isn't the only AEW wrestler that has a bright future ahead, as our next subject is also gunning for the top. Who are we talking about this time? Konosuke Takeshita. Yes, at the tender age of
Never heard
28,
of him.
Konosuke Takeshita is already approaching a level
Look,
of
at
greatness in the ring.
the
we don't
tender age of 28, he called that man well seasoned 28 year old. Hey, I'm hate you niggas call 29 niggas 30. Like they call that nigga Duke. Duke, goddamn. They said he was, I remember Duke, he was marching with Martin Luther King. Like niggas, we are not old. Niggas are not old. 30 is, we are in a, this We right before the prime, baby. Hey, it's crazy. I was talking to my homeboy like, damn, bro. Damn, just think 8 years ago we was 22. God damn. God damn.
Very often. And that's been evident in the cavalcade of excellent bouts he's had against opponents like Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, and Kenny Omega, just to name a few. But then his greatness was always evident as far as in Japanese.
Don't know who this is.
DDT. So we shouldn't be surprised he's as good as he is. The only question left then is how good will he be by the time all is said and done. Really, if AEW play their cards right, they could have one of the best in-ring wrestlers of this era. Whatever happens, we'll be watching carefully as he continues to rise up the ranks, no doubt coming across our next subject in the process of doing so, a subject who goes
And
by
they
the
be talking
name
about
of
goddamn.
Daniel Garcia. Yes, it's time to talk about
I used to read they were talking about goddamn AEW got all older people. Like shit, I got young niggas. So what? Like I said, I watched AEW when they started, all the way up until probably last year sometime. I don't know. I just kind of dwindled out of watching it. I don't know, but I might get back into it. So AEW is a great show. You know what I'm saying? They talking about all the AEW people going to. I mean, all WWE people went to AEW, now they come back to WWE. So everybody knows that WWE is up here. Nobody's gonna take that over. But guess what? If you can go over there and do your thing and go back to WWE, hey, that's a win-win. They can use WWE. I mean, they can use AEW like NXT, but just have more leverage. But they probably don't look at it like that.
one of the hottest young prospects in AEW.
He like
Sure,
Ocean
there are
Spray.
flashier performers out there, but what Garcia excels at better than almost anyone else his age is
Hey, and Edge is doing fucking great over there. Last time I watched him and Christian fight, everybody was like that was a downgrade. I'm like, bro, Edge and did everything in WWE. What more was he gonna do? Like he said, he just wasting time. Like that could be a spot for somebody else. So Edge doing everything he want to do. Edge helping younger talent over there. So hey, it's up to them to do what the fuck they need to do. You can't blame that. I hate when people do that. All WWE people go over there. Nigga, it's a job. It's a job. Shit.
technical skill between the ropes. Of course, these skills are something he's shown us time and time again against a litany of opponents, and it's something which turned him into a standout of the
Kai Black.
Continental Classic, where he had fantastic showings against Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, and Brody King. Really, it's just a case of waiting for AEW to finally pull the trigger on him at this point then and strap him up, because as things stand right now, the 25-year-old would be an excellent option to be the one to finally dethrone Christian Cage as TNT champion. That said, for as great of a technical worker as Daniel Garcia is, there's someone back over in WWE who would argue that they're even better. But then, when they come from the kind of pedigree they
so that's Will Ringer's son, ain't it?
Surprised that Charlie Dempsey feels this way.
Yeah.
That's right. As you're all no doubt aware, Charlie Dempsey is the son of William Regal, one of the best pure technical wrestlers of all time.
Yep.
And this is a skill set which is clearly passed on down the blood then, because while he's still only 27 years old, the Blackpool native has already shown himself to be a very good performer in his own right. Hell, it was enough for WWE to nominate him to be the one to go over to All Japan Pro Wrestling and challenge for the Triple Crown as part of the budding working relationship between the two companies.
Definitely can tell.
If Shawn Michaels has any sense, it'll be enough to see Dempsey get a more prominent spot on the roster before long, hopefully by getting a chance to mix it up with Ilya Dragunov. Then once that's over and he's main roster bound, there's so much for the rookie to achieve.
How was NXT
Honestly,
UK
you
though?
just throw him right into the deep end with a Gunther or a Chad Gable and let him show what he can do, as he's clearly more than capable. In fact, you could even throw him in the ring with our next subject, and they'd almost certainly have a Matt Classic.
Who?
Who is that next subject? Well, despite it feeling like he's been around for forever already, it's none other than Tyler Bate.
I was finna say what the fuck they
Yes,
talking about.
Tyler Bate is still only 26. And that's mind-boggling to think about when you consider everything he's already done over the course of his career. It doesn't matter if it's over in the British Indies, where he's
Never heard of him.
seen alongside the likes of Will Ospreay and Pete Dunne, or on NXT, where he's
Hey, did I
managed to
call that
become
man
a two-time
Ocean Spray or Osprey? Oh shit, Will
champion on
Osprey.
the
What
UK
the fuck?
incarnation of the brand. And since officially joining
I
the
thought that was
SmackDown
Edge.
roster in January of 2024, he's had a whole new roster to play with and a whole
Oh, he
new
was
set
Butch?
of goals to achieve. Where will these goals take him? Straight to the top if Triple H sees in him what we do. After all, this is no longer a Vince McMahon booked show, and so a relatively small guy can be as big of a star as the game allows him to be now.
Be as big as they thought they want to be.
Everyone has to rely on Paul Levesque seeing something in them if they want to be a star going forward, though, as back over in AEW, he's not a factor. No, in the case of Wheeler Yuta, he's proven.
I remember seeing him, but I'm not familiar with his work.
Not convinced of Wheeler's greatness already at just 27? Then take a look at the great matches he's had on both AEW and Ring of Honor television, many of which saw him defending the ROH Pure title. And like the man who's in many ways the yin
he doing an interview with a bloody nose?
Yuta is a highly skilled technical wrestler. That's right, it was these skills which saw the Blackpool Combat Club feel like he was ready to be inducted into their ranks as their resident young.
So when is Will Reed going back to WWE? When is he going back? So that'll be great seeing Will Reed back. Cause then he get wrote off TV. He got wrote off TV over there. So when John Moxley and Daniel Bryan was doing their thing, that was a while ago.
Boy back in April of
that was a while ago.
But the Philadelphia native won't be a young boy for much longer.
Hey, if y'all play AEW game, let me know how it is. Cause I heard it was like the old wrestling back in the day. So I would love to see how it is.
He's going just now. No, if he carries on like this, then it feels like only a matter of time until he becomes a main event force himself. That said, it's not all about the men in AEW when it comes to rising stars under 30. No, there are plenty of women who fit such a bill too, and of these women, perhaps none have as much promise for superstardom as Toni Storm does. Seriously, Toni may very well be the top talent in all of AEW ever since she's morphed into her timeless incarnation. It's rare to see someone find such an excellent character so fully formed right out of the box. And with her still being just 28,
she looked like one of them people back in the day.
Decades she has left in her as everyone's favorite fallen movie starlet. She's already a 3-time AEW Women's World Champion, a record she shares with Hikaru Shida, so by the time she's finished, she might have reached Charlotte Flair levels with that particular belt, because as it stands right now, there's no one more over in Jacksonville most weeks outside of maybe Swerve Strickland. But she's not the only female who's proven herself to be a star despite her young age.
I heard they women
could in many ways be said for Jamie Hayter. That's right.
I heard they ain't not a book the women, so they might got better at that. They might have got better at that.
A couple of years ago where it felt like the only person in the entire All Elite Women's division who was over was Britt Baker. And then along came her friend Jamie Hayter and proved that someone else could be a star too. How did she do this? Well, it was mostly by being a very good in-ring performer. Someone who was hard-hitting and punishing enough to have initially gotten over in Stardom and then transferred the skill set straight into an American ring with ease. Needless to say, before long, this led to the 28-year-old becoming AEW's Women's World Champion. And while injury would see her have to drop that belt right as her momentum was at its strongest, she should be due back any time now, ready to remind us all why Hayter hits hard and why she, perhaps more than anyone else, deserves to be considered the ace of the division going forward.
She got a close line?
Still, though, if she does plan on trying to prove this, she can no doubt expect some tough competition, and not just in the form of Britt Baker, Toni Storm, or even Mercedes Moné either. No, the person we're thinking of here is our next subject.
Did she ever sign?
Other than Chris Statlander.
Didn't she sign? But I remember her. I remember they had like a package for her, but I don't remember her actually coming out. So, Sasha Banks. I think that dude said she go to AEW, but I don't remember her. I don't remember seeing no video or nothing about it. So,
Statlander. Sure, it might have taken a while for Statlander to get where she needed to be, as she was unfortunately plagued by injuries during the early days of her run.
But ever since
returning at Double or Nothing in May of 2023 and dethroning Jade Cargill to become TBS champion, the 28-year-old has been on a roll which no one has been able to slow her down from. Yes, she has since dropped her belt to another great young prospect in Julia Hart, but this doesn't mean that she's faded away from TV. No, quite the opposite, in fact, because when she's not standing in the corner of her best friend's stablemates, the New York native can be found regularly putting on great bouts, most recently alongside her tag team partner, Willow Nightingale. So it feels like only a matter of time until she reaches world.
Probably going to have to change that finisher
and reminds us all just why she suits having gold around her waist. Of course, while she's doing this, there's a decent chance our next subject will be winning some
That was
male singles
nice.
gold there
That was
too.
nice.
That's right, we're talking about El Hijo del Vikingo.
Don't know who this is.
And yes, we know Vikingo doesn't technically work for AEW right now,
That shit was
but
fire.
he's made more than a few appearances there over the last year or so, in the process proving why he might be the only man on the planet today who can arguably out-ricochet Ricochet in the ring. That's right, just watch his instant classic with Kenny Omega on the March 22nd, 2023 episode of Dynamite if you need any evidence of this. And once you're done with that, go and watch some of the 26-year-old's work in AAA, where he currently stands as their reigning and defending Mega Champion. We guarantee you won't be disappointed because he
I remember
kills it every
seeing
time he
him.
steps
I remember
inside
him
the
seeing him
square
doing
circle.
that.
Honestly, it's a thing of beauty to witness, and one of the
I remember seeing him do that in on some, but he probably gonna have to finish that one day. I mean, he probably have to change that one day because as bad as that is, if you don't rotate good enough one time, oh man, that shit gonna be bad.
main reasons why AEW will likely be making a play to sign him full-time once his current contract runs out in Mexico. Of course, there are other great young Mexican stars out there too, one of which works for
Dragon Lee.
WWE right now and is our next subject as it happens,
He's 28.
Dragon Lee. Now, when it comes to this 28-year-old, he'll take a different path than El Hijo del Vikingo, as he'd start out his career in the other big league of Mexico, CMLL. And that saw him find great success by becoming both their lightweight and welterweight champion at points. That said, the real next level in terms of exposure for him wouldn't come until 2022, as it was then he would join the NXT roster and make a pretty quick splash by having bangers against opponents such as Noam Dar
Doing the last
and
ride.
Santos Escobar. Then, once he was done establishing
Yeah.
himself, he'd go after the North American Championship, then being held by Dominic Mysterio, and would manage to defeat Dirty Dom to take the strap home for himself.
That's fire.
So given how much faith this shows that the current WWE management regime have in him, don't be surprised if Dragon Lee has a lot more success in the future. But what of the man who beat him for the North American title? After all, despite only being 25, he's more than shown he can be a star too. But when you have the presence of an Oba Femi, that should come as little surprise. Now, you could argue it's a little too early to put the big man in this video as he's still so very early into his career. But we've seen how much he's impressed already in the short time he's had. Hell, as we mentioned a moment ago, he was the man to dethrone Dragon Lee as North American champion. A
Okay.
belt he still holds as of the time of this video's recording.
You gotta check him
So
out.
for that reason alone, we couldn't ignore him. And as time goes on, we expect he'll only continue to get better,
check him out.
racking up win after win and continuing to improve in the ring. In fact, we're already eagerly anticipating the day he gets a chance
I love how black people are we trying to take over WWE. We trying to take over. We trying to take over. God damn it! I love it. I fucking love it. Fucking love every moment of it.
to mix it up with our next subject, Wes Lee. Sure, this one might take a while as Lee is currently on the injury shelf, but we've no doubt that when he returns, he'll pick right up where he left off. And where he left off was being one of the most promising talents on the NXT roster. We've all seen what he can do, whether it's part of MSK or as a solo act. And with him still only
Never
being
heard of him,
29, there's no end to what he can achieve over the next couple of decades. Really, it already seems like he's ready for the main roster. So much so that we wouldn't be surprised if he got rocketed straight up to the main roster once he returns to action. After all, there's not a lot left for the 29-year-old to develop anymore. No, he's very close to ready for the big time, so we'd love to see him thrown into the deep end and watch him tear it up against the Ravens.
So would they? Some of these guys are. Oh man, you can't get no lower than that. What I was finna say, yeah. What about a cruiserweight division for them? Well, I feel like the cruiserweight division would be for them. I don't know.
Mysterio or a Seth Rollins. It'll be an easy way to turn him into the star everyone knows he can be. And while we're at it, do the same with our next subject too, as they've already shown they can hang with a main eventer. And we know this is true because we saw how well Kiana James did against Becky Lynch recently. And it's not just her brief feud with the man over the NXT Women's title which tells us Kiana James is going to be someone to watch, as even outside of that, she's had quite a good run for herself already, despite only being
What's her name?
26.
Nikki Lyons. Nikki Lyons,
Yes,
she great.
whether it's being one half of the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions,
You leave that
alongside
karate
Fallon
shit
Henley,
alone.
or just bringing it whenever she's asked to take on opponents like Lyra Valkyria or Tiffany Stratton, the Sioux City native has shown a lot of promise. All she needs to do then is just continue on the route she's going down, and pretty soon she'll be on the main roster challenging people like our next subject, the one and only Liv Morgan. Yes,
Damn,
like with Tyler Bate, it can be hard to accept
Liv Morgan, she's 29. Liv Morgan, I feel like Liv Morgan. I've been watching Liv Morgan for at least about 4 or 5 years. Like, god damn, she started super early. She started real early. Damn, was she a champion or not? She started early as hell.
Morgan is still as young as she is because she's already done so much in her career.
That's what I'm saying.
In fact, even now, with her still just being 29, she's already become a one-time SmackDown Women's Champion, a two-time Women's Tag Team Champion,
what I'm saying.
and a one-time Miss Money in the Bank. And there's still no sign she's going to slow down anytime soon either, meaning that over the next few years, we can expect to see her rack up even more accolades, all while she continues to impress in the ring. Hell, we can easily see her being the person to eventually dethrone Rhea Ripley as Women's World Champion at some point, as the two already have a ready-made story with
maybe
on account of Mommy being the one to kayfabe injure her. But even if she doesn't do this, we expect the future will be bright for Liv anyway, as she has all the tools required to get over in the WWE system in a big way. Just as our next subject has too, should she choose to ever
maybe
sign on the dotted line.
when she was in Impact.
And that's Jordynne Grace.
Yep.
That's right. It's time to head over to TNA, where the current ace of their women's
In
division
TNA,
is a 27-year-old superstar in waiting. Seriously, just look at Jordynne and tell us she doesn't have everything it takes. She's already a 3-time Knockouts champion and 1-time Digital Media champion. And if her cameo appearance in the 2024 Women's Royal Rumble is anything to go by, she might be holding gold in WWE before all is said and done. Of course, this would be well deserved then, as there are few women out there today who can do what she does as convincingly as she does. And that's exactly why she should be a priority for Triple H to snag away as soon as he gets the opportunity.
Like a little pit bull.
We've already seen her tear it up with Mickie James, Deonna Purrazzo, and Trinity. Now we want to see what she can do against the likes of Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, and Bayley. But even Grace doesn't have the physical presence of our next prospect, the 29-year-old giant who goes by the name Omos. Of course, anyone who's been watching WWE for the last couple of years should be more than familiar with Omos.
I'm telling you.
After all, he's been a somewhat regular fixture there, whether it be during his brief run as part of Raw Underground, his time teaming up with AJ Styles, or more recently, his spell under the tutelage of MVP. Sure, he might not be the best wrestler in the world, but there will always be a place for a giant in New York, and there are few giants today who sell themselves as convincingly as this big man.
Him and Brock Lesnar had a great feud.
Yep. With Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 39, if you need any evidence of this.
Brock Lesnar should have won
at
that.
his young age, there's every chance that by the time he reaches his 30s, he'll have improved to a point where maybe he could even put on a great bout against a Gunther or a Cody Rhodes.
It's gonna be kind of hard.
Is it a cliche to say the sky's the limit for a man who's 7'3"? Sure, but it's true. Because even if he doesn't become the next Andre the Giant, there's still a good chance Omos becomes the next Big Show or Braun Strowman. And if that happens, he'll no doubt have a lengthy career in the WWE system, as it's the right place for him to be, just as it's the right place.
I often say, Omos did great, man. I love Omos. He I don't know why they don't use him no more. Probably not right now, but I'm quite sure he could be used for something. He'd be used for something. It's kind of hard with him being like 7 feet tall, though. Like,
for our next subject,
kind of hard to work.
Sol Ruca. Now, Sol Ruca is another case of someone who's very early into her career, but based on what we've seen so far, she looks like a star in waiting. Hell, she's certainly got the athletic ability, as can be seen in her matches against performers such as Tiffany Stratton down in NXT. And she's also certainly got the look to be a star. Will this be enough to see the 24-year-old ascend to the level of someone like Trish Stratus or Charlotte Flair one day? We can't rule it out. No, for all we know, she might end up being even better than those two legends by the time
how hard that is.
And while we're at it, we could probably say the same thing about our next entry, as during her short time on NXT, she's also shown herself to be a woman of some talent. Yes, it's time to talk about Kelani Jordan. What does the future hold for Kelani Jordan? Potentially a lot, because she has so much potential to offer.
Okay.
And that's been clear ever since she first stepped inside of a WWE ring in May of 2023.
Shit.
Sure, she's still only 25 and right at the start of her career, so she's got a long ways to go yet before she's going to be challenging the Rhea Ripleys of the world for the position of modern-day GOAT. But if what we've seen so far is any indication of where she's headed, it'll be straight to the top.
Yes, sir.
We know she can wrestle, and we know she's capable of picking up wins over the likes of Tatum Paxley. The only question
Somebody
left
needs to start
is will
watching
she be able
NXT.
to put it all together and become the star she knows she can
Kind
be.
of fucked up right there.
We'll just have to wait and
Kinda-
see, just as we'll have to wait and see how it goes for everyone else we've discussed today.
Yeah, I might have to go. I might have to start back on watching NXT, man. They got some prospering people. I got some people that I feel like will do great in WWE, man. That is great. I didn't know goddamn Leah Morgan, what they say, at 29, 26. I didn't know she was that damn young. 'Cause I've been watching. She feel like I've been watching her forever. Some majority of the women I didn't know, especially in AEW. Some of them AEW I didn't know, so you know what I'm saying. Probably got to start checking them out more than I do, but I doubt it. I don't know. But hey, if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, share. Peace.